Platforms ready to go. Facebook, everything. Ready now?
Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within.
Well, that's your boy, the Coach Low for Life, aka the Camp King, and we'll welcome you back once again. Another week of greatness. Welcome to the Film Room, and remember, it's truly a mindset of greatness, a commitment of greatness, a sacrifice of greatness, and a passion of greatness. Have all for it every day. Take your game to another level every day. Make somebody say, "Wow, that boy's good." Make them say, "Coach, we got another one in the building." The only way somebody gonna say wow, the only way somebody gonna say we got another one, if you're in the film room. Whether it's in practice or whether it's on the field, all said and done, somebody is watching. Somebody is checking your time schedule, your stamp. Did you do your part in the game, in practice? That's why they always say, be a student to the game, not just on the field, but off the field. So when you go sit down in the film room, take a picture, video yourself, and send it to the coach. Post it on social media. Let them know that you're working, not just physically, not just mentally, but you're also working education wise, being a student. Know you need to be, and that's in the film room. That's why we do our homework in the film room, and that's why we do what we do and bring the right information to you with my partner, my man, Mr. Right Choice, Tremaine Wright. What's going on?
Man, what's going on, Coach Lowe? Man, it's glad to be back again on another Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, and also after watching you eat 4 different plates last night. It's great to be here. If y'all don't know Coach Lowe, we travel every weekend on doing camps. This man, last year, it was in August, he's sending me places to eat in New Jersey, New York, California. This guy can eat, man. He had 3 bundt cakes. He had 4 plates. He ate 25 shrimps. He ate 4 ribs and three plates macaroni and cheese last night. How you feeling?
Now, now that's why I was in the gym for a whole hour, trying to knock it off. But listen, I did. But what he failed to tell y'all was I ate small plates, right? A little mac, a little rib, couple wing, But I did have 2 pieces of red velvet, my favorite. But the first time I had sweets in almost 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? So guess what? I'm doing it right now because here's what they say: you have to respect your body. You have to take care of your body as a athlete, especially the men. I learned that when I went to the doctor and they told me, hey, you got to watch what you eat. Hey, the certain levels are too high. You know what? But I wouldn't know that if I didn't respect my body in a sense. I would not always do the right thing. The athlete always do the right thing. They don't always put the right thing in their body, right? They're not taking care of their body, whether it's too much alcohol or too much smoking or the bad greasy food from McDonald's. Either way it go, you have to learn how to tone in, lock in, and say, be disciplined. Because the body gonna tell you when you're not ready, you're not right. Not taking care of the body create injuries. Everyone think about getting Achilles, like snapping your Achilles, it comes because it's just a free accident. No, you putting too much in your body, your balance and your core and your control is off balance. You move the wrong way, bam, it snapped. That's had nothing to
Yeah,
do with things. So take
I
care of
t-
your body.
yeah, I ruptured my Achilles in my 30s, so trust me, I know exactly how that feel. I thought somebody threw the basketball at me. I just popped my Achilles. So I understand exactly where you come from. So you guys, this is the film room. We're here Monday. So let's get this thing started. Just a little quick recap, real quick, man. Tyler, what's your thoughts on last night game, real quick?
Man, listen, the big picture and the takeaways from the game, the preparation. I know you talked about the coaching, the moments itself. The game was exactly what I said it's going to be. Defense, defense, defense. It shows that this is one of the first Super Bowls in a long time that defense wins game. And I like that because a lot of athletes go to camp and everybody want to catch a ball. Well, guess what? Stephon Diggs had all his catch in the fourth quarter and game pretty much over. The wide receiver that had 8 catch, 153-yard the championship game didn't have that many catches. So when all said and done, we know who won the game. Defense. And don't get me wrong now, Jermaine. I think that Patriot defense actually outplayed Seattle Seahawks.
Look, at first, who do we say was going to throw the first pick? Sam Donald,
Yep,
right?
you
And
said
guess
it
what? It was backwards. He ain't throw no picks.
exactly. But
I
at the
re-
same time, you think about the game itself. You seen it right there, hand on hand, right in front of you, where New England Patriots were stopping Seattle Seahawks. So what the crazy problem when they stop them, when they punt, they always put Patriots on the 5-yard line. That's 95 yards of football. When you're in the Super Bowl, you know how hard it is to go 95 yards. Even in college, hard to go 95 yards. 70 yards, I can see it, but 95, it was tough. And as you can see, that dominated defense of Seattle Seahawks, guys, pay attention. Wake up. Smell the coffee. Smell the coffee because that coffee going to wake up your mind, go through your brain, and stimulate down to your heart and checking your heart. So you will have that heart. See, to play defense, you got to have heart. Play offense, you got to finesse. Only one problem. The money's on the defense side, and they're proven last night in the Super Bowl
Yeah, so it was
2026.
a good Super. A lot of people say it was boring. It was kind of boring, but I will say this: the refs let them play. The first half they only had one flag. I can't really remember how many flags the second play because I ain't gonna lie. I turned after that
Not
touchdown, the
many.
first touchdown Seahawks. I kind of turned it off. I was looking at my phone, and then 1 minute score this way, then the score went up this way. So it was a different kind of transition in that game. But nonetheless, congratulations to the Seahawks. They good way to win compared they should have won when Marshawn Lynch. But we're not gonna go back to that. At least they got the W this time. So let's transition. Now we're gonna transition segue into what we here to talk about. Let's talk about last week and the recruiting signing last week and the transition or the stuff that we seen that was different that we normally don't see. With the December signing and now the February signing, it looked like the December one is the really impactful one and the different tier schools. Let's talk about that, Coach. What are your thoughts?
Well, right. Well, I'm gonna dive in right away because you seen the difference because it used to be a time where you can look at signing day and say, "Wow, he went to here, he went here, he went there." Now I caught myself on Facebook asking one of my kids' parents, who I trained maybe a year ago, having trained him this year. I had to ask this question: "What school is that? What school he committed to? Where he going?" When you got to ask them questions, you know the game has changed when it comes to football recruiting. Now kids are just happy just to well, I don't say happy about it, but just get someone to say, I want you to continue to play, give you a chance and a platform or a stepping stool to get to a powerful or bigger program, because that's the way it is now. So when you start hearing school like Wilmington and Willerton and Sacred somebody jumped off a cliff or backyard Chickasaw University, I'm telling you guys, things have changed. I'm just keeping it real. It's interesting now. The schools that people wouldn't go to, like the Lake Erie and the LaGrange and SIU, now they're running to these schools and accepting the fact that this is where their future starts at. But it don't have to. But it don't mean where their future ends.
Now, I will say there's a lot of people who don't know, but I'm really big in exposure, especially for the kids and the programs. I will say I give kudos to these lower tier schools because what they have did and they had to adapt to it is giving these kids the same expectations as they going on Power 4, Group of 5, HBCUs, they're given the same standard, the same photo shoot, the same videos, the same commitment flyers. I've been seeing it everywhere. The same kind of tours I've been seeing from all these different these lower tier schools, because they know now the kids that normally used to sign ahead of time, they're not going to the schools anymore. So now they're picking up these kids that's not going to these Power Fours, these Group of Fives, or the FBC, HBCUs or whatnot. They're not going to them schools now. They're picking up the different schools. Just like, for example, we had a couple of running backs this past year that had 1,500 yards, 1,400 yards, 20 plus touchdowns, and they're not even going to a D1 AA or D1 school or HBCU school at all. They're going to a D2 and D3 school for them stats. They broke records at both of the schools, some of these kids, and they're not even going to these higher programs that normally wouldn't be no problem. Even if you're short or not, it wouldn't be any issues. But now we're seeing a trend of a lot of kids that has great statistics in high school not going to these bigger schools. What are you seeing, Coach? I know you just mentioned just a second ago. How many kids you know on your hand that had the stats and the training and just not going there?
Well, I tell you right now, I'm gonna talk about the kids that had the stats and the train that did go, and them the kids that at certain schools, like the Jones. I'm because of local. No, I'm just talking about Central Florida. So the schools that's dominant in the area, them schools are going to produce more athletes that go Power Four than any other school. But then on the flip side of it, even them schools going to miss out because their school they got 3, 4 Power Fours. They got some kids had to end up going to Albany State. So kids had to go down to St. Thomas University. They have the 1,500 yards in rushing, or even maybe 1,000 yards in catching. And I'm not talking about the size. I mean, this kid got 2,000 yard running. He's a typical running back. Oh, this kid here has at least 6 feet tall. He's a typical. But there's so many receivers out there in the portal, or what the case might be, that the kid's not going to get what he got until he goes somewhere else and then try to move up from there. So I mean, you look at it, 20, 30, at least 20, 30 kids that went to a smaller level, at least 7, 8 of them should have went bigger.
Now, real quick, Tyrone Gibscomb, I don't want to say his name wrong, sorry. He said those lower schools have become fancy JUCO models, is now getting film and getting in the portal. Talk about that, Coach.
It's true statement. JUCO now is not the answer anymore. It's not an answer. Because keep in mind by JUCO, for those that do I know, if you go to a certain state where there's a JUCO, only 10 to 12 out of state athletes can play on that JUCO team. So when you think, oh, I'm going to JUCO, wait. Unless you go out to California, which is going to cost you a lot of money. Parents ain't coming to visit. The flights are long. They're very expensive. You got to get an apartment with 3, 4 guys. That ain't as easy as you think anymore. So JUCO is not really told the answer for everybody. But what is the answer is going to the smaller school, like Tyrone said, like the Davenport University, who go to the playoff up in Michigan, or the Ferris State, that's most of the time national champion, or the Grand Rapids up in Michigan, or the Pitt State up in Kansas. These are schools that actually that kids are need to be going to now because that is the platform. And these schools always in the playoffs. We got to remember that. The Montana, they always in the playoff. So a top kid need to make sure he go to a top D2 school if he don't get that Power 4 school.
Now let me talk about this, because you know about this, and I talked to one of my students today. He's committing to Lane. So I asked him, did you get a full scholarship, a full ride? He said yes. But the key kicker is, I said, you ain't really get a full scholarship. You got good grades? He said, yes, academic, and guess what else, Coach Lowe? They threw in the financial today. So they called that a full ride.
Full scholarship. It's a pack. When Brandon Brown Dukes had got an offer from Mercyhurst University, and my first D2 player ever, because every kid I touched back then went to Power 5, every last one. Maybe No, I mean I got some mid major. I remember Frank went to FAU. I think we had a FIU. Maybe UCF was a little bit mid major then. Draco and guys. But every kid now that go to schools like Mercenhurst is who now they went to D1. But when Brandon went to Mercenhurst, I was like, and the package came, his mom to come over and help me read this package. I'm reading the package saying, what is this? So now I had to break down what does it give. At the very end, it said Brandon only have to pay $1,500. They'll try to give him work study. I said, well, he got financial aid. At least he have money while he's there. No, 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 no. The financial aid is included into the package. And the only reason he got a full ride because it took the financial aid, they gave him work study, found a couple more dollars for him, and there you go, full ride. But Jermaine, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. You go down there with that package. They take everything. They give you work study. You work behind the desk doing nothing. You're like, oh, I ain't paying nothing. Parents got to send you money here and there. They got food, all that. Guess what you have to maintain if you don't dominate as a freshman?
High GPA.
High GPA. So you came in with a 3.0 or higher.
You stay there.
When you get to college, freshman year, it's a true fact that the average GPA for a freshman football player is 2.0.
Oh, I got a kid right now. That's what he went to school for one semester at a certain school. He went in the portal. He couldn't go to a certain school. You know why? He had a 2.0. The school that wanted him said his GPA is not high enough to even transfer to that school. So he had to go to another school.
Now your money go down. So now I know. I experienced with one of mine. Now your money go down. Now you got to get a loan. Here come your mama now saying, I don't have it. Or my credit ain't good. Or let me try. I don't know if I can afford that monthly payment. Now, what happened next? You're out of the school, and now you're back from square one, and that's what problem we're having now when it comes down to the portal.
So what Coach Lowe is saying, and we're basically saying that people that's watching this right now, position your kids academically, because that's what one of the issues is. The second one is position your son, get him training to make for the output of signing in December. Because if your son is not signing in December, the odds are that he's probably not going to a school that's going to give him potentially a full ride. And you don't have to worry about keeping that crazy GPA because you ain't got to worry about academics. And the statistics are out there. Let me read this real quick. At Rutgers, 22 of their 23 commits signed early in December. Florida State signed 32 players on the first day of early signing day, including 17 four-star recruits. Recruiting analysts have noted that more than 90% of incoming FBS newcomers take advantage of early signing period rather than waiting for February. You know why, you guys? Because they want them to leave. They want them to be on campus in January. So, yes, there is a window open for kids to still hit and go to them schools in February, but it's very slim. I can tell you that right now. It's very slim. What's going on is you're seeing Mercerhurst, Davenport, or Stetson. I'm just naming some of these schools that I can think of in my head real quick. These schools right here, I've been seeing a lot of flyers, committed flyers of kids going there win from last week's signing. And I also want to say kudos to Jones. Jones had 21 or 22 players going to college. And 20 of them, I don't know, it was a lot of them last week. And I just want to say this, no hate here or anything like that. They all going to school. That's the whole key goal at the end of the day. But all of them went to lower tier schools besides one was Bethune-Cookman that I saw on that list that I seen. No hate or anything like that, but I'm just showing you that if you look at their signings from December and they're looking at their signings last week, they're two different levels of school. The ones in December were all for basically scholarships to
NIL money, NIL money ball.
That's good. That's good. NIL money ball, as Coach Lowe say. And you looked at last week. You look at the difference in school tiers. Now, if you go back and look at the last 2 years of Jones, the schools were different. You never seen any of them schools when they signed last week. So I'm just throwing this out there that you guys pay attention of what's going on out here in the landscape of recruiting and football right now, because it's changing, and your pockets is changing too as well, because you're going to have to figure out what does that look. It's no more, oh, my son go to college, we're good. No, that's not the case anymore. That may be a case after 1 year, 2 year he goes to college, and he has to put in that work for him to actually get that full ride or get that NIL money or get that bag, as you guys call it. So you guys have to start paying attention to this. You're spending money on camps. You're spending money on training. You might as well spend your time and also look at or go to conventions or whatever that's out there to see and get more knowledge of what's going on in the landscape of recruiting. Because even for me and Coach Lowe, it changes every day. It's changing every year. It's changing every semester. So that's why we do this show, to keep you guys engaged and let you guys know what's going on. Because sometimes we find out news, just like you found out news. So we get on here. What's your
But I tell
thoughts
you
on?
this right here. Let me piggyback on that right there. Know the school, know what you're doing, do your homework, do your research, and be in the circle. Be in the circle. Be in a circle where the high school coach have relationships still and know what he's talking about, and he's pushing you. The trainer know what he's talking about, he's pushing you. 7 on 7, if you're going to do it, make sure with the right group, that's going to push you. When I was setting up for marketing, I give you an example. I have my team, Excel Speed Training, Excel Speed 7 on 7. They go on the Shot Doctor, the owner of Shot Doctor, Eli Miller. I mean, the one that runs the 7 on 7, say, hey, Lo, send me your top guys. Why? For we can know who they are. We can give them to the writers, try to help them get some exposure, or what the case might be, we're following around. That's what we do because the brand comes, we sponsored by Shot Doctor. So we send them the list of about 10 guys. There you go. We come to camp, same thing. I'm at the camp, Orlando Center. Everybody should have seen it. Orlando Center, Chris Hayes was there. He right up on the kids. Who was the guys? There you go again. Who was making sure the kids are getting exposure, getting their name out there, and getting recognized? What school are you at? Is the school bringing them in? How many colleges came to that school to see the player? Does the school have top players on the team? It's high school that they make sure when they come see them, they're going to see you. So I don't want to point it out. Here go plan B. Do your research. Here's a question I'm going to ask for parents out there right now. If you're tuning into the film room with your boy Coach Low for Life, HKA, the Camp King, and Mr. Right Choice in the film room, what schools, what NAIA school have the most sports revenue? I know you don't know that answer, so I'm going to give it to you. So when you start looking at these colleges, make sure you're ready for this. 15 point, no, I'm going to go by the bottom up. Most revenue, NAIA, Lawrence Technology University. That was a big word. I guess I ain't go to that school. 11.1 million.
Really?
Menlo College, 11.2 million. Kansas Wesley University, 11.7. Ottawa, I had a kid that went there. Ottawa University, 12.9. Here go Baker University in Kansas, 13.5. Missouri Baptist University, 14.3. William Penn University, 14.1 million. Georgetown College, 14.6 million. And Missouri Valley College have 15.8 million NIA. St. Thomas is not on there, but guess what? Because St. Thomas have Florida kids, with most of their team with Florida. They have 3 teams down there. For those that don't know, they got an A team, a B team, and development team, like a high school, JV, and freshman. It's at St. Thomas University. Everybody pays. They take the money from the guys who don't get fired. They pay all the money. Take some of that money, help out with some of the guys who on a scholarship, get that football money. So do your homework. So when you go to the NAI school and you have to go, find the ones that have the money. But if you notice, you listen to the name of them: Missouri Baptist, William Penn. These schools that mean academic. So we out there spending money on running around with 7 on 7 all around the country. I mean, I sponsor. Hey, they want to do it, it's up to do. It's up to them. Because my motto is, you can't tell nobody to do it with their money, can't tell nobody to do it with their kids. But you better be smart now. You want to go to these colleges, you better get your grades. Save that money for tutoring, get their grades up, and take them to camps like this, Missouri Valley College, where you go there and dominate the game and get that money. But you got to be smart about it, parents, and make the right decision when all said and done. I'm not saying football is down a rabbit hole totally, because guess why? There's still an NFL. There's still a college national championship. There's still D2 national championship. There's still colleges out there, right? There's still opportunity for kids to go play ball. Once again, look at Okoye, who had 4 kids that went to low-level school, but they went. Look at the Jones. Look at the Lake Mary. Schools like that there, that's what they still, Dr. Phillips still put kids in there. So make sure you understand that. Well, Edgewater, make sure that when you get these kids at these schools, that they're doing their part. It take a village. The coach got to put them on the field. The trainer got to get them prepared to get on the field. The parent got to make sure they're taking a business in the classroom, and they got to be in the right position, right situation to get film. So when all said and done, you can talk about NIL all you want, 500,000, 700,000, 125,000, all the money you want. But as you noted, what I just said, it still funneled down to 2 things: film and grades.
And just to piggyback off that, when he mentions film, you got to have a film. You got to have exposure for yourself. You got to get your name out there. You got to get some buzz, people talking about you, putting you in different situations. And we're going to segue that. When I say situation, is FBU this past weekend. So that's another platform for your son to get highlighted, more exposure. And when I say exposure, I mean this right here. If your son is in middle school, transitioning into high school, when I mean exposure, it's getting coaches the buzz about that kid to come to that certain school, to put him in a starting position, to make a good name for himself. And I want to name one kid, Gavin with the CFCA. He went to that school and guess what? He broke records. They was undefeated. He got hurt at the end. And he made a huge name for himself by going to CFCA. And there's other kids that I just named that just one kid. It's about putting, and he puts himself in a lot of positions in camps. So talk a little bit about that, Coach, because even Gavin was at FBU. So talk a little bit about FBU.
Now listen, there's always an end game to come down to camps. One of the number one end games in most camps that come to Central Florida is they got a national showcase. That means they're going to take the top player from all over the country and come and compete. They're going to bring in all the writers and top coaches to talk about you. A lot of film, a lot of media. That information is going to go out. They're going to go on Twitter. They're going to go on TikTok. We're going on Instagram, social media. They're going to go to the database of all the colleges. They might not see but 5% of it. You just got to make sure you're doing what you got to do for that 5% to be seen in that 5%. FBU have a different game. Not only do they have the Top Gun, they also have the games itself. And their game's called All-American. And because they're backed up by a credible sponsor, Under Armour, and they have the number one right now database report called UC Report. These are where you're supposed to be at to give yourself an edge, to give yourself a little exposure, a little budge, a little nudge. You have to ask yourself, what's the value? For $150 divided by 3 or 4, that's $50 an hour or $40 an hour. If we go 4 hours to the camp, what I get out of it? Did I get a chance to become an All-American, play in one of the most prestigious games around, and that's having millions of views? Did I get invited to the showcase and get compete against all over the country? Did I get a write-up by the Orlando Sentinel? Did I get coached up by the Dorian Jones, by the Aaron Jones, by the Mike Jones? Did I get coached up by them guys, right? Because you can take a train and pay $50 an hour, but if they don't have Orlando Sentinel out there and media crews out there and writers out there and an opportunity for you to get into the big games and big showcases, then you're not put into the test. That stuff leads up to now we got spring football. Now you're going to spring football. Now when a writer come to spring football and say, hey, where's such and such? Because he know you from camps. Or where's such and such? Because he heard that you was an All-American. He's seen it on NBC, on the YouTube page or on ESPN. So it's very important, especially when it comes down to camp, like the FBU camp and other camps too.
So key things I want you guys to pay attention, because I'm the technical one here. When Coach say getting written about, I want you guys to understand this. When your son gets written about as an article or 247 on 3 or whatever platform, it makes your son searchable. And when I mean searchable, I mean it puts them in the algorithm as in Google. So now when people start typing in your son's name, that pops up them articles like Orlando Sentinel, on 3, 247, SB Nation, any of them kind of platforms. Now your son pops up. You can read about him and get more information about him. And guess what that leads to? It goes to a rabbit hole. Now you go to Huddle because you want to see how good the kid is that comes from that write-up. Now you go to Instagram. Now you want to see how his image look, or you want to see how his clips look. Now you go to Twitter. You go to all these different platforms from that article getting written up. Now, a couple of key things with that is you're not getting no write up if you're not balling at no camp, or you're not balling at no training, or you're not balling at no 707. You're not getting no write up. So the key things about this is what Coach Lowe just said is you gotta be in the top 5%. It's for exposure. The writer's not going out there looking at boo-boo. They're gonna get the best they're gonna get the best kids. No, let me rewind that. They're gonna go to Coach Lowe. Coach Lowe, can you tell me who the top kids I need to focus on? That's what they do. They don't go now. Sometimes some kids do pop out because some of them have an eye for this. But they'll go to Coach Lowe. That's why you need parents need to get in with the top trainers in the area and the coaches, because guess what? You're gonna go to Coach Lowe. The writer's gonna go to Coach Lowe. If he knows that kid's doing good and Coach Lowe know he needs to get some more buzz, he needs some things to work on, he's gonna pitch it to that writer to go talk to that writer. And guess what? Now the kid become more searchable. Now he gets more exposure. Now every camp he go to and he's affiliated with Coach Lowe or anybody else, guess what? That writer's gonna talk about him again and again and again. And then you start getting them invites to rivals. Don't get it twisted. Rivals, you don't pay for it. You got to get invited to get in that. Under Armour, you ain't paying to get in that. Yes, the day before Saturday, you pay for that.
Right.
Sunday, nobody. Sunday is an invite only. So rivals, and it do suck. Them are only two platforms that people will skip 7-on-7, a birthday party, family function to go to an Under Armour or a Rivals because of the stigma. Now, I want you guys to pay attention. That stigma, and me and Coach Low opinion, is going to be going away soon. Look at Cam Ward. Look at the Indiana quarterback. These guys that they have no stars attached to them. That usually you got to have a 4-star, 3-star, 5-star to go to get invited to them camps. Them Cam Ward's first-round draft pick. Indiana, he's gonna be a first-round draft pick. These riders, they're still a good to have, but the Rivals and Under Armour camps, if you don't get accepted to go there, it's not the end of the world because you still got FBU, you still got AAE, you still got YAA, you still have Verdo, what is it called?
BTO.
Same thing.
Exactly.
All these camps.
But you know what? All that's good, but if you don't go, it don't even matter. If you don't go, it don't matter. What's my number one model before we bring our guests in, whenever if he called in yet? You can't tell a parent what to do with their money. You can't tell a parent to do with their kid. All we can tell you is camps are more important now than even rankings. Because now, here's why. They're saying a writer can do a ranking. But if you look at the camp Saturday with Chris Hayes from Orlando Sentinel, he was asking Tyrone Sapp, who's the guy? Dorian Jones, who's the guy? Demetri Artis, who's the guy? Mike Jones, who's the guy? Chaz Whitman, who's the guy? Rod Russell, who's the guy? He was asking Walter, who's the guy? Tell me about him. He was asking the coaches. So the coaches seem to be a little bit more credible now, in all said and done, because why? That coach played at Clemson. That coach coached in college. That coach coached in high school. That coach trained kids. That coach go around the area. That coach at all the different camps. So that coach almost getting a lot more credibility. So now if I got a coach that played at Clemson, I'll get Darren Monroe, played at Washington State, and he played at Akron, he got a relationship with that number coach. He graduated college, he got his alma mater, so maybe he can reach back out to his school. Maybe he can have a little edge and a push. These kids need everything now to help them get some type of exposure, some type of recognition on top of their film and their grades. Because they're only giving out so many scholarships when all said and done. So exposure matter. It's changing the game. The ranking stuff have been changed. Nick Saban called it out best and had a word about it itself and said about how rankings and these guys who doing all the rankings. But listen, if anybody know about camps, if anybody know about rankings, if anybody know how to watch a camp and watch a kid and know that he's going to be a power forward, he's going to go NFL. If anybody got the discernment or the mindset that to read a kid and look at a kid and say, that kid got something. I don't know if he got a crystal ball. I don't know if he just blessed, because he is a blessed man and a Christian man that walked the walk, that talked the talk, that put the passion before the money anytime. And I'm glad to say that he's the one that actually, for those that don't know, the name Camp King. If you don't know that name and where it came from, this guy right here, the founder, the CEO, the president, the one and only, a hotbed world, just joined us, who gave me the name Camp King. All I did change the C to the K. My man, Brandon Odoi. What's up, B? Thanks for joining the show.
What's going on,
What's
Brandon?
going on, guys?
What's
Hey
going
man,
on?
what's going on? Glad to finally meet you, Mr. Hotbed. I've been seeing that logo on everything. I've been trying to erase it off the pictures, but I just keep it on there.
Let the brand show. You know, we just wanted to show when we put that brand, you know, that sun, that half sun. We wanted to show people, listen, we're stamping whatever it is that we're showing. And so for all the kids that come to these hotbed camps and from all over the country that participate in our showcase events, you know, they want that authenticity. They want that blue check, so to speak. So, you know, we come with the logo and we put the work in to build the logo and the brand. And like Coach Lowe was saying, the brand is authenticity. The brand is what are you doing to get better and to show colleges and universities at the Division I level that you have what it takes to be an asset to their program. I just got off the phone literally moments before this call. That's why I was in, Kev. You may have seen it. I was in the chat and then I had to take myself out because the coach called me. And I don't want to have to lie. Like Coach Lowe said, I'm a man of faith. I don't want to have to lie for anybody. I don't want to be tempted with lying. I want to be able to tell the truth about these student athletes, what their ability is, how much passion they have for the game, and what their skill set is. And just this morning, I was on Zoom reviewing our sophomore showcase, the same game that Fernando Mendoza played in, the same game that Jeremiah Smith played in, you know, the same game that, you know, Lawrence Seymour played in, who was an All-American on his way to Texas from Western Carolina, originally started at the University of Miami. At the end of the day, I was reviewing a Zoom with a young man who I was trying to convince not to play football beyond high school because he wasn't willing to put in the work. I was literally trying to convince him that it's okay not to play at the next level. It's okay because, see, now, Coach Lowood, and I want to see what your opinion is on this. I'm not trying to interview you. This is your show. But I just want to ask your opinion on this. Isn't it better for a kid and parent to find out that the kid really don't have the heart and the passion to play at the highest level, want to train with Lowood, want to go to, you know, Excel Speed, Burn Baby Bone, want to be in Battle of the Pit, want to meet him at one of these camps all across the country, work out with the Camp King? Isn't it better that they don't spend that money traveling? Don't come to football hotbed. Don't go to all the weight lifts and don't, you know, stay out late, do the 7-on-7s. You know what I mean? You know, play for Excel Speed, play for Hotbed World. Isn't it better that they don't spend this money and find out, hey, I just want to play high school football.
Okay.
And after that,
well, let me answer the question.
Sure.
When I'm at a camp, when I went to Hotbed World, and I had opportunity, first time to run that camp, it was during the COVID. And all them kids were out there trying to make it happen. I mean, they was out there getting it. Even I brought my own son down there. Then I go to the showcase, tackle football, from 5th grade all the way to high school, seniors. I mean, the best of the best. Best of the best.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I seen it then, right? Then I come back now and I look at, wow, times have changed. Here's the answer to your question. It's best for them to ask this kid, do you want it? Because the parent expectation and the kid expectation have to be the same expectation. I say that every camp. That's what I say. You and your son have the same expectation when he get up in the morning. Do he go out there and go to work before he go to school? When he get out of school and he does school workout, do he get another workout in? Do he have over 3.0 GPA? Is he in there watching film or instead of watching video games? I asked him a question. If he's not doing that, and you got to tell him, y'all don't have the same expectation. So why are you going to camps with a C? You need to go to tutoring. Why are you flying all the way around the country to play a game so you can take pictures of your baby and put on Instagram and say, my baby did this. When all is said and done, you call and saying, can you help me?
Well, the issue is a lot of the parents have more expectation than the kids. And I'm seeing it all the time from youth and to high school. There's a young lady right now that gets so upset why his son don't play and want to transfer him. But all the athletes I asked, like, he don't want to play anyway. His mom make him play. And that's the
So
issue. And,
Brandon,
and that's the issue.
B, is that what you just and ain't that what you just said?
That's it. That is it. I mean, we have so many people that they are playing this game to please their parents. And really, Lowwood, no, and I say this all the time. If you ever been to a hotbed camp or a showcase, you're probably tired of me saying this. Nobody with average grades or even above average grades expects to get into Harvard. But we have a lot of average kids with parents that expect their kids to play at the high level. And it's a shame. It needs to stop immediately. They're paying kids now. You and I know it. You and I both know six-figure kids playing college football. They're making as much money or more than you and I in some cases. How can you be just slightly above average? You have to be exceptional. You have to be elite. That's why it's called Excel speed. Excel means at the top.
I like that.
The very top. We're not talking about okay speed. We're talking about Excel speed. We're talking
Don't boost
about
this man
the
head.
very
Don't boost this
best.
man head.
No. Hey, listen. One thing about it, when I call, let me tell you something. When I make phone calls,
let me say one thing, Lowwood. Not, forgive me. This is definitely your show. But when I gave you that nickname, Camp King, I didn't call you the Camp Prince. I didn't call you the Camp Justin. I call you the Camp King. Why? Because it's the very top. It's the highest level. I'm saying in my 16 years of going coast to coast, doing camps, observing camps, showcasing things, I have never seen. And this remains true even to this day. Even after COVID, it's been 5 or 6 years since I said you were the Camp King. I still haven't run into somebody that I can just turn my back on and say, hey, man, run this camp. Listen, I go to college camps. They don't know what they're doing. College camps need to be calling Lowwood. If you have a college camp, I'm telling you, you college coaches don't know how to run your own camps. I go to your camps and they're boring. You don't put kids in position to really truly be evaluated. Yeah, we all know you can run the 40s, but the way you do your one-on-ones, running backs cannot be evaluated hardly at all. Running backs and linebackers, this new camp model, remember, this is the Nick Saban model. Saban is retired. Y'all need to retire this brand of camping. Y'all need a new model of college camping. You need to pick up the phone and call Lowwood. If you call me, I'll give you his number. And you need to change the way these college camps are run because it's a joke. But bottom line, you got to be the best, Lowwood. I'm sorry. You just have to be the best.
I will say this. I will, before you, I'm sorry, man. Hotbed, you are 100% correct. I told Coach Lowe I would not do any camps without Coach Lowe, and even my students. My students did a camp without Coach Lowe. They said, "Hey, Mr. Wright, man, this camp is dead. Without Coach Lowe, man, it's not the same. Because Coach Lowe has the eye for it. We do camps when he don't see stuff moving, he changes up real quick at the drop of a dime. Or if he see a drill he don't like, or he see a coach that's not doing what he's supposed to do, he gets them on them toes and tell them, hey, man, think of something different, or he think of the drill, or he gets in the drill and do the drill himself. He makes all the camp. He makes that. So he makes the whole camp. He makes it exciting, competitive, and we've been throwing twists in it lately. Getting the kids hyped before the camp, competition to make them be excited the whole camp. And Coach Lowe does that. I've been to camps that's boring. Kids just sitting there, just waiting for their next turn. With Coach Lowe there, the kids want to go back up, skipping the line. So you 100% correct, Hotbed, about what you just said. Like, I don't want to do no camps without Coach Lowe either, because he puts a lot of energy in me when I had that camera to make sure I put that camera in front of him, because I want to exploit what he does so everybody can see what you're missing on the field at a camp.
Yeah. Well, I tell you that B, man, I appreciate that right there. And like I say, it's all about the thinking on a dime, and you just have the eye for it, Yeah. I know if we forget doing the hotbed down there, we got ready to do the game, or the seniors get ready to come out, and everybody came out a certain way, and you want to talk, you praying on the last group come in, and You're like, what a team at, what a team at. All of a sudden, I got them coming through the tunnel, about to tear the gates off, about to come through the hole, a whole nother entry. Like, wait a minute, you down there looking for the team right there. I'm down here. I don't came through a whole nother tunnel. I don't came through the mission gate. Right, we're coming through hard. Why? I understand that passion brings energy. Energy brings excitement. Excitement make the kids have confidence. They build them. How do we get them to go out there? The ones that felt like they wasn't him, now I am him. You put it inside of the kids, and that's just my ultimate goal. But with that being said, I want to transition now. B, we got a question for you. The
Okay.
camp circuit. The camp circuit insights. You said it right there, what it takes, but you also could easily be in one of the hotbed world where you can went around the country, continue doing the camp circuit. I'm okay with the answer I'm gonna get. What's your thoughts on the camp circuits now? I mean, when it comes to recruiting, what I mean is, how did the camp circuit help the recruiting for athletes now, knowing that it's limited?
Yeah.
That's all Power 4. Talk to me.
Well, the recruiting media has changed their focus. So it used to be Rivals 247, On3, which in the past it's been Scout. These guys used to travel around to all the camps. They used to go to all the 7-on-7s. They were exposure junkies. They wanted to be in the place to find new people. Now, what they've done, they started ranking kids earlier, and then they just give you and feed you more information about that same group of about 100 kids. Very rarely do you find diamonds in the rough anymore. There's no sort of grassroots movement in the recruiting circles. So now camps have almost become inundated, because without exposure, and many of these camps try to get, some writers to come and expose, and it depends on what kind of audience they have and who they are. But at the end of the day, you need somebody that people can trust saying, hey, this kid can play football and I need to pay attention to him, and at the end of the day, I position myself to be a scout that a lot of coaches trust. But even me, I'm not enough to be able to say, hey, I think we should do a camp circuit, let everybody come and let everybody participate and get exposure. I would rather push high school kids to college camps. Let them go to college camps, let them get in front of these college coaches, and let them make the names for themselves. Now, the thing that I want to, say shame on you college coaches is you need to cut all these mega camps. Those things are a joke. Kids run through, coaches get paid. That's how they pay their GAs and put, some money in the pocket of their analysts. Man, they're evaluating the guys they told to show up, and everybody else is there along for a ride. You'd be lucky if you get 4 reps.
Okay.
And in the reps you get, Coach Lowood, if you're a receiver, you might get a quarterback that shouldn't be there. That's
Yeah.
just there because he's on a trip with his friend, with his high school. He's JV or didn't play. He can't throw the ball from here to your mailbox. And so at the end of the day, that's one of your reps. And
Right.
then, next thing you're getting back in the line with 50 receivers. If you're a Miami or South Florida kid, or Florida kid in general, man, you skipping the line because you already know there are limited reps. I need to be seen. I'm gonna be a dog. I'm not gonna be polite at these camps. I'm getting as many reps as I possibly can. I'm trying to make sure somebody's pulling me aside at the end of this camp. It really starts with the 40. If you don't plan to run fast, going to a mega camp is a complete waste of your time. But we got to get rid of these mega camps. We got to discourage colleges from doing it. They won't. I'm just speaking down on them. If we stop allowing kids to register or stop sending them to them, eventually they'll fade out, because
well, let me ask you this
you
here
have to
then.
ask yourself who's ever been offered
Let
at
me
these
ask you this.
camps.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna pick. Let me go now that I hear you. Because one thing about me, I'm definitely a 2 ears and 1 mouth type of guy. I'm gonna listen, and you always say that you do listen to me. So here's my thing. I have a camp.
Okay.
Kid come in, give him his gear. He get a headshot. He get an interview. We interview him. Set the stage, set the platform. Name, where you're from. You got an offer. What school you at? What's your plan? Where you want to go? Who looking at you? Tell them who you are. how you speak, chest up, shoulder back, talking to the camera, setting the platform. They come around, they sit down, they hear the stuff, and they get great coaches out there with them. The camp is a stepping stone. Let me show you how to run the fort. Let me show you how to do the shuttle. Let me show you how to do the L. Let me show you how to do the broad. Let me check your agility through ladders and hurdles. Let me check how you run through these bags to the NFL style combine. When you go through the bag, come back, you hit it, you hit it, you hit it, you split back and forth, up and down. Let me see how you tuck that ball up high. No ball, hold his shirt right here, high tuck. Let me see how you run your route. Let me show you how to run the route, sit in the zone, sit in the zone, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, man to man. Let me show you, train you. Then we're gonna go ahead and compete against it. Now I'm gonna set it up for a whole hour where you get a chance to get everybody get reps in 1-on-1s, right? Then again, reps in the 7-on-7. See how you do as a whole. Then we put in a red zone mindset. But then I got camera crews, 10, 15 cameras out there watching. I got the main camera crew in the field watching you. I got a rider here and a rider there, but the rider is getting the information from the coach who's training him. Then I'm going to talk to the guy who got 5 guys in NFL to get him evaluation, and the rider going to say, Aaron Jones said, well, who is Aaron Jones? Oh, that's an unarmed All-American in high school. Oh, that's Florida State D-type. Oh, that's got to have Tyler Davis, Vernell and all the guys in NFL, Jalen Carter. Then at the end, you tell the guys, we prepared you, we trained you, you competed. Now, you should be ready for the college camps now. My motto is, why not prepare them before they go to college camp? Because college camp ain't going to stop. Now, the Mecca, I'm saying with you. But a regular college camp, they're going to have it. Someone just a college camp. Do you feel like that's a good model where, because some kids don't have trainers. I got a guy drive from Jacksonville, Fort Myers, all over West Palm, just to get the training down up here. They'll drive 2 hours, 3 hours, because they don't have no one in Okeechobee, Florida, or Days City right there, or Baton Rouge, or Quincy, or whatever. So they come get the training. But if I come to a camp for 3-4 hours, get all this training, I got all these, and I'm going to compete 1-on-1, 7-on-7, 5v5. And then I get some recognition. I get a card, so I was invited. I'm All-American. I'm an all-camp team. I'm MVP of the camp. I got a lot of film. Isn't that a way to go now?
Stopped.
Like, treat the camps the way they treat college D2. Go to D2, prepare to Power 4. Go to a smaller camp, help you for the big camp. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the thing is, you got to remember that is always good. You're always going to have, these instructional pieces or whatever. But the people paying money for these camps are wanting the exposure. So if you don't tease them with some level of exposure, or if you come to this camp, you can get invited to this, that's where the camp crowd is. If you just say, hey, we're going to come and have a camp, and we're going to improve your skills to help you get ready to go to another camp, your numbers are going to be low. Because unfortunately, we don't have enough people that appreciate how serious this process is. There are people who show up to North Carolina camp. I mean, I go to these camps every summer. There are people who barely play JV showing up to college camps. Like, these are not developmental experiences. You should not be at these camps. These are camps where you need to show up if you feel like you have the ability. And that's why what they end up doing a lot of times is they'll separate guys that they expect to be there, the guys they're really evaluating, and then they'll put their young coaches down with the youth and the inexperienced players. And a lot of people want to try to get on that big field to be seen. And the reality is, if you're not ready, or if you're not already on these lists, man, you're not going to be seen at these camps, because they've already, handpicked the guys that they're evaluating. And those are the people that are going to be on the field where all the coaches are. I went to North Carolina camp. Bill Belichick was on one field. They had the turf inside going, both sides. They had the lineman 5v5. They even had a field right next to it. But guess what? Belichick was on one field, and all of the position coaches were on that field, and they were evaluating prospects on that one field. Now
So
they would
okay,
shuffle and go get kids. So you would sometimes see kids leaving that field, going over there, and then you'll see people coming, sending like GAs and analysts saying, "Hey, you need to be on that field." And then
right,
they'll go and take reps and kind
right.
of do that sort of thing. But man, this is a
We
very finite business, you know,
we did
coach.
that in the volleyball. I know I'm
It's very finite. You know, it's not everybody's not. This isn't a utilitarian experience. This ain't for little Johnny. Like everybody doesn't get a turn. You know, this is elite level Division I football in the NIL era, and these coaches have to make the playoffs and win now. Coaches are getting fired in 2 years, Lowood. There's no time for development. So while my answer to my question, to your question is yes, that's a good camp model. Me, who, as you know, I have a pretty good sense of the kind of camps and the kind of brands and the kind of things that are going to work. And some things have a time limit. I don't think that it's the season for a camp like that. I think there's an organization, I won't get personal, but there's an organization that could have positioned themselves to be that camp because they had a national brand and they missed the boat because they were trying to get the elite of the elite to attend these camps. And the reality is elite kids don't have to go to camps to get ready to go to big time camps. They just show up and ball out, you
right,
know, and
right.
that's, they don't have to do the preparation part.
Well,
But,
I
you know,
think I think the elite kid, they already doing what it takes to the ball out at the camp too. 'Cause that's why they elite.
yeah.
Now,
Well,
and
and
I
the other thing is sometimes these elite kids go to camps and they got the book bags on. You know what I mean? They're not even having to go
right,
around
exactly.
because the coaches
Right.
already want them.
Well,
And juniors, these kids are on OVs. They're not at these camps. Don't your last year to camp nowadays is sophomore year.
right. And I agree. I agree to that too. And I like what you said too when it come down to prepare the way to preparation for the camp. That's why I said if I got an opportunity for them to go to a national showcase against all the other kids, all the camps around the country. I got writers there, coaches doing evaluation, cameras everywhere. Now you're trying to give them the best of both worlds. Got to combine it all. You got to give them a true value for their money nowadays too, because a lot of camps they're paying money. They go to it. They bring a group in. You do the combine. You do some drills and go home. And that's trying to drive me crazy that the kids are just going out there and just be going. And
But
you're right too.
I just had a showcase, man. There's a lot of average to bad kids at these camps. There's never been a camp I've been to where I could say, "Oh man, there are 20 plus people here that like they should really be highly
Well,
recruited."
okay, you know what? I'm gonna jump in again. I had one of my boy call me. His name Jamel. He said, "Man, my son been training since 7 years old.
Yeah,
He got taller. He dominated. He killing it. His footwork and drill is awesome. He come to the camp and they move him with the high school. 7th and 8th graders just moving to high school. Well, I know both the kids. They've been training forever. They put the work in.
yeah,
So and be able to go as a 7th, 8th grader to compete against high school. That means two things. One, their trainers paying off because they working, and two, the level that's at the camp is not high
it's low
top tier, but
because
they still high
they
school.
need people to come up and give them real reps.
But
And that's why I say, Lowood, you go to these camps, man, and the camps you host, man, the level of football could be all over the place. You can have elite guys to guys that are really just beginners, and you don't know. That's why having a person like you is necessary because you don't know the skill level of guys at these camps. Sometimes these guys don't even know what routes to run. If you say, "Hey, run a dig, run a post," you know, run an in, run an
oh,
out,
we've
like
seen
they
that.
have no idea
Hey,
what
Brandon,
you are even talking about.
Brandon, we did the camp this weekend, and I had like maybe 20 lined up in the warm up, and we brought them up, and I had Dorian Jones and Michi, who had a great college career, and they trainers. I said, we're gonna do the 5, 10, 5. And then they showed them how to do it. Went to the right, stop. Went
Yeah,
to the left, stop. Then
yeah,
sprint through. Okay. So we brought the first group out to the right, stop. Now I said, wait a minute now. Y'all was clearly just seeing them do it. Well, 15 went to the right. The other 5 went to the left. I said, what are you doing? So for constantly people doing it wrong, doing it
Yeah.
wrong. They don't prepare, they don't train before they come compete. And they wonder why I didn't get top this or top that or invited here or invited there. So that's what I'm starting to see too. The training side of it is really not doing well at the camp because kids are not coming prepared. And they go back to what you said, is your expectation, it is same expectation of the parent. It's that simple.
Let me say this, and I know we're wrapping up. You know, I go around to all these colleges. I get in touch with a lot of these coaches, you know, as I'm out on these universities and these college tours. Charles Kelly, we went to Jack State. Charles Kelly, he was out with Coach Prime at Colorado. He's coached at Auburn. He's coached at Florida State. That's where he made his bucks. And he was with Nick Saban at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Kelly said, he's the head coach at Jack State now, which is in Jacksonville, Alabama. We went at our most recent freshman, sophomore, and junior showcase. We take a college visit every day. We went to Jack State first. He said something that I found to be completely profound. He said, we recruit who you are. We don't recruit who you think you are. And that's like, that was a game changer. And his exact quote is, we don't recruit who you want to be. You want to be D1, but you are D3. You want to be elite, but you are developmental. We don't recruit developmental. We recruit elite. And we're going to recruit you where you are. So when you want to be recruited at this level, but you're really at this level, those expectations won't line up. And so that's the problem. We have parents and kids who think they're up here and they're really down here and they want to be recruited up here. And when they're not, there's all kind of fallout and disappointment. But the reality of the situation is every college and university is all saying the same thing. They're all saying you're not good enough because you're not being recruited by any of these Division I schools. That's telling you to call Low Wood, find one of the camps he's attending, train harder, work harder, get in the classroom, raise your GPA, get on the field, and do something. That's it.
Now you had an opportunity for the quarterback for Indiana to come to your camp, to your showcase, right?
Sure. He came to one of my camps too.
Why? Why he came there and tell me about that because I was proud to see you on the field at the national championship game taking a picture with his dad or somebody.
Wearing my shirt, you see.
Yeah. He had to be in there. He got a shirt.
Yeah, so you know, that's for people who, you know, have Heisman Trophy winners that come through their brands. But at the end of the day, it's just God's favor. I'm not going to take credit for it. You know, we put a brand out. We put, you know, what we're all about out. The parent heard, you know, a good recommendation from another parent whose son actually went D3. And he said, man, you got to check out Hotbed. You got to put your son in Hotbed. He tried us out. He came to one of my camps that I had at St. Thomas Aquinas. You know, he did well there. He was in 9th grade. And I thought to myself, I said, man, this kid's got something. And I was, in fairness to me, a buddy of mine that actually helped me start Football Hotbed, he gave me the heads up on the kid because he cut the kid, didn't want to, but he cut the kid from the 15U South Florida Express. And so this kid was cut. Florida Fire made him the 3rd string guy. But I posted it. I'm getting ready to post it online. The kid has been throwing darts and being a dog kid when you go back and look. And even the sophomore showcase that he participated with us, the kid has been good, Lo. He's been talented. People just miss. And people miss in recruiting all the time because they fall in love with who people are. And there are corporations out here that don't have more Division I's than Hotbed. And they spend far more money, they have far more sponsors, but they focus on who people are instead of who they can become. We allow Fernando Mendoza to become an All-American, to become a Heisman Trophy, to become a national champion, because we welcome him in. We treated him just like every other kid. We gave him the full exposure of Hotbed. We gave him the live stream. We gave him the huddle film. We gave him a tackle football game with competitive other kids from all over the country. We gave him the college tours. We gave him a competitive camp. And then I sat on the phone with his dad, I gave him advice. He took it. He understood where I was coming from, what's in the best interest of his kid. But don't forget, he also went to one of the top schools in the state of Florida for football, which is Miami Christopher Columbus. He played on state championship teams. He's in a big city. He had a lot of exposure, but all of these things didn't work. He went to 20 plus camps. Dad spent all kinds of money. I was at the Florida State mega camp with him. And I took a picture that I posted on Facebook, and the Indiana coach was sitting looking there like this. At the time, Tom Allen from Tampa area. And lo and behold, Fernando Mendoza was throwing darts, and everybody was focused on some kid that never got off the bench in college. Mm-hmm. And you had the Heisman Trophy winner. But see, that's the way God works. All these things shaped who he was. So I would never take the failures. I would never take the overlooked away from him, because he wouldn't have been the same guy. He was lost in the sauce. He was overlooked. People didn't give him an opportunity. And, oh, by the way, he wasn't this 6'5" strapping young man that he was now. He was awkward. He had a weird haircut. He was only about 6'2" and some change. I was there, so I don't have to lie. I'm telling you the truth. You see him now, he looks like a GQ model. You know what I mean? Back then, he had bigger feet than, his body, but we didn't know he was on his way to being 6'5". God was still working on him. The sauce was still boiling. It wasn't ready yet. And so when you have these kind of stories, man, you can't take credit for it. All you can do is thank God for the platform that you've been able to build, that it's inspired others to say, hey, I'm going to give myself an opportunity to go on that platform and let's see what happens. What did we do for Fernando Mendoza? This is according to his parents. Gave him confidence, gave him an opportunity, adulated him, made him feel like he was somebody, and then he propelled himself into a great career. And it's only just beginning, really. And we expect him to be the number one pick in the draft.
So when I was said and done, it come down to, like I say, the opportunity, get in front of the right people that believe in what you're doing. And because I see it all the time, athletes come out that you never think that they're going to be that guy. I never get Matt Milano, was a good football player at Dr. Phillip, but he was surrounded by so many greats. But I never forget when Boston College and committed a coach at Michigan State, who's a real good coach at Michigan State for a long time. What is his name? He been there forever, for a long time. It was years ago.
Mark D'Antino.
Yes. Yeah. I was on the phone with them guys in my garage, me, him, and daddy, talking to the coach, asking all the questions, and we thought they were going to be the place for him to go. But we were shocked. No, he did get opportunity. He went to Boston College, had his career, with 5th round draft pick. Now he won a highest paid linebacker of Buffalo Bills and a solid career. Because you just don't know. But I seen the talent when he was 7 years old. He couldn't beat Ha in the run. He couldn't beat none of the guys in the 100. We put him in the mile. That man, we put this boy in the mile. He won the mile national championship, won the 800 national championship in track and field. I mean, come on. Because sometimes people look past. They look at, well, I got Ha Clinton Dix. He went 1st round draft pick. I was right on that. I got Embry Peoples. I mean, I got Quincy McDuffie, but I also had little Matty over here. What about him? Do I just focus on these big three and forget him over there? No. That took him in the same way, and look what happened. Great career. Still got the longest tenure career out of all the guys. So that's why it goes back to, like you said, put your kids in a situation, in the right place, the right camp, the right circuit, the right training, because they're going to need it. They're going to need it. I talked to my boy. I'll tell you one thing right quick. I just talked to my boy who went from Hampton to Iowa State, and he's struggling. He's struggling. Hanging there, working, and he's struggling. And he came to my training one day. I said, you better come back Thursday. I said, you got to come back, get the mindset of being great, come be a different chain. He didn't come back. Oh, you went there, so I didn't come. I said, but I got Dorian Jones, I got Chaz Williams. He's an All-American at Georgia Southern. He's the best trainer around. That's my top guy. You know what? Up there struggling, 8 tight ends. You might be on your way home, buddy. So that's what I'm saying. The parents got to make sure the kids want it. They got.
And let me say this. Let me say this to end the thing. We talk about camps, and this is big on what you do and who you are, Lowood. What makes a good camp? How do I make a decision on whether or not to attend the camp? If you have a Lowood there, or if you have a Brandon Odoi, or you have somebody that can take what you did at that camp and magnify it. So let's say, Lowood, you're at a camp. Long as you're there, you can call me and tell me about a kid you had in camp, and I can go watch his film, and I type something about him to my 10,000 followers and my million views on Football Hotbed, and that kid will go from being unknown to he's gonna have people following. I did it today. I was in the weight room at Carroll City High School. I saw a guy, an impressive performance in that weight room. I mean, they had already run stadiums and done some other stuff. He came in the weight room and he was maxing out and going hard, curling, all that, almost without a break. I said, man, listen, you are a beast. And then I went to go watch his film. I said, you're going to be somebody. And turns out he already had SEC offers. He already had Big Ten offers. But I watched not his film. I watched his work ethic in that gym in order to pick it. And that's why you say there are certain people who have that ability to go and see certain traits and characteristics of people at camps. So if you have a Low Wood at a camp, you have a Brandon Odoi, you have somebody like that that can pick those characteristics out, that's going to be a good camp no matter how many kids are there. Some people are like, oh, there's not a lot of kids at this camp. Man, do you want 50 million kids? Get all the reps. You need the right people at the camp who are evaluating. A good camp is not having a bunch of people. This isn't a concert. You know what I mean? This is not like a place where, having a bunch of people makes it. This is an evaluation. And if you have the right, that's why every camp we throw is a good camp, because I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be the guy that also saw Spencer Rattler, who also saw Dante Moore, who also saw Jeremiah Smith, who also saw Pat Surtain, who also grew up around here in Pompano where I live, watching Lamar Jackson. That's what you want to have. You want to have people who know what it looks like. And when you sow into the seeds of life into these guys, and because of Mendoza, I called a few parents that have been, in our showcase. I said, man, I see the traits. I see the traits. You got something here. Keep putting in the work, and it's going to be special. It could be special.
So
well, listen, man, you said it right there. Jermaine, if you got anything for our last word, this is a great segment. A lot of people chiming in. They're saying, Brandon is right. Make sure that you there at the camp, go to the coach and say, who the dogs on the other side? Let me compete against him. People forget about that part. I'm here. Where's the best guy at? I want to line up against him.
Yeah, right? Line up against the guy that already has a reputation. Right. Don't run from him.
But no,
don't take. I go to camps. I see guys dominating. They put the stuff on social media. You went out there to San Antonio, or whatever, and every guy you taking a rep in is a little Johnny. And it's like, man, you're not helping yourself. Yeah, you look good, but it's not real. Stop pretending. Mm-hmm. Take the time right now and put yourself in that fire before you get out there on Saturday, before you get on that practice field. If you pretend your way in college, you're going to be pretending your way right out of it.
So what you said, our last thing on our closing takeaways.
Coach Lowe.
Exposure versus preparation. Go ahead, Tremaine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Brandon and Coach Lowe, we talked about this a little bit, Coach Lowe, about having credible people like you got yourself evaluating kids. Before we end off, I want you to answer this for me, Brandon. I know Coach Lowe. How long you think the ranking system is going to last, the stars?
Oh, it's going to last forever, because they are always going to pour. First of all, let me debunk the ranking system. 247 on 3 rivals, all those situations, they're media companies. All they do, Football Hotbed could put a ranking system together. The only reason they put rankings together is because they want to say one guy is better than another guy and write articles about which guy is going to go to which school and get you to click on these articles and subscribe and to buy into what it is they're saying. They've missed nobody has a better failure rate, but yet people still, they show diehard Georgia fans, diehard Gator fans, they want to, we got the number one quarterback. Fernando Mendoza wasn't celebrated by Cal fans. He was just another guy that signed. He was a last-minute guy. But yet, come to find out later on down the line, he would win his team a national championship. So it's all marketing. The real databases are Catapult, which used to be Exos, which gets sent out to every, college and university in the country. National preps, underclassmen, national underclassmen, the Under Armour guys, 3 Strike, Billy Tucker and his crew. Those are the actual scouting databases. And a lot of times you can get yourself into these databases by attending these Under Armours and Rivals camps. And if you know scouts like myself, people who do it professionally, because I do help people to get into college on a private basis. And, parents can contact me and I can work for their kids. But I have people saying, can you help my son get stars? And I want my son to be a 3-star. And who do you know at Rivals and 247? It does not matter. It really doesn't. It does not matter. It does not matter. Those stars cannot save you. Those 5 stars will get you put in the transfer portal faster than anything.
100% correct. Yes, yeah, 100, and you're correct about that too as well. Because I've been seeing a lot of kids that around this area that was 4-star, 5 stars transferring down, and a lot of kids that had no
Because
stars
you're going
transferring.
to, in this era, not to cut you off, Coach.
No,
in this era, you're going to end up where you truly belong. Guy went in the portal. He was at Penn State, quarterback. You know where he ended up? HBCU, FCS.
Yep, right where he belonged. FAMU.
And guess what? That's who you are.
Yep,
that's who you always are.
Yep.
That's who you are without the hype. That's who you are without Rivals and 247 writing about you, preordaining you, crowning you when you've done absolutely nothing. And when I go to see these so-called 4- and 5-star guys, and I go and I said, man, I'll never forget. Right here at Coconut Creek High School, around the corner from my house, I went to a game. It was a state semifinal game in the state of Florida. The guy, I said to one of the 247 guys, I said, because he was from up north, I said, man, what you doing down here? He said, man, this dude is committed to Florida State. I said, who's committed to Florida State? He said, the guy, the quarterback. I said, man, you get out of here, stop lying. I said, that guy is committed to Florida State? Because at the time, they were coming off 13-0. And he said, yeah, the receiver's committed to Bama. I said, who's committed to Bama? He said, no, the guy, the receiver, he's committed to Bama. I said, man, stop lying. I said, they can't throw or pass the ball in this game at all. They ended up winning the game on the ground with a quarterback committed to FSU and a receiver committed to Alabama. Now, the receiver jumped in the portal. The guy that I'm just talking about, he just jumped in the portal.
Look,
and what I'm saying to you, Lowood, is if you believe your own hype, instead of getting exposure, you get exposed.
Hey, boy, it get no better than that right there. And I keep telling these parents, I keep telling them all the time, it's all about be authentic. Don't follow no image. Don't let that image fool you. If you ain't authentic and doing authentic work and putting that work in,
you gotta keep it real, baby.
You gotta keep it real.
And see, that's why a lot of people don't want to come to Hotbed World, because we're not gonna kiss your, we're not gonna sign your shoes.
We know that, because you said, you made it clear at the last camp I did. You told them straight up, boy, and I was like, oh my God, I never heard nobody talk to kids.
You ain't never heard nobody talk to people like that.
I said, why? But know what? They respected it, and I tell them too at my training. I told a parent the other day, I say, you got good this, I want to kind of good routes, you got good this, but he stopped coming speed and agility, and he can't do nothing deep. He just got to go right 5 yards. But every day I see you out there doing ha, shake and bake, but you never work on that explosive and that technique in the court. I see quarterbacks nowadays out here, every time I look at them, they're in a weight room, training this guy in a weight room, jumping on boxes and all that. But I don't see no speed, no agility, no quickness, no nothing working on outdoors, in the grass, in the sun. You're stuck up in a warehouse and think you're supposed to come out being the best out there. Mendoza ran that ball. Don't get it twisted. So you better make sure you keep running, but you'll catch them 707 all day. Bad habits, bad performance, but no one get that grit and that grind. And that's why I tell the parent, Clinton Dick said it best. If you ain't doing 2 a day, you ain't doing speed and agility along with your position and in that weight room, you're not going to be where you need to be at. And that's why, and in the classroom, because if you ain't graduating early, even as a Power 4, you better graduate early. If you go in the summer as a Power 4 kid and going to a Power 4, you wait to go in the summer, good luck. You've been better off going to Marshall, Akron, somewhere. So you can come in the summertime and catch up in 2 months. But Power 4, you better be doing an early enrollee, boy, or you're gonna be in trouble.
You better
Period.
go early so you can start making that Skrilla.
My
Don't
Yeah.
Moneyball. And once
forget that.
again,
Look how
y'all
much
heard it
money you
right there
leave on
with
the
my boy.
table. You
Well,
don't get
they
paid till you show up, baby.
Yeah, well,
you
You
heard it
better
right
tap
there.
in, clock in.
yeah,
Well,
well, I
I'm,
would
I'm
say
gonna
that.
do it like this. Way you heard it right there. This your boy Coach Low for Life, aka the Camp King, and you got the man, the CEO, the man with the plan, Mr. Brandon Odoi, right there from Hotbed World. And you heard it right there live, Mr. Right Choice. Go ahead and close it out. Next week, it's gonna be big, it's gonna be good because I'm gonna give you a sneak preview. But we got DK Taylor coming on one of the top girls flag football organization. I just throw it out there. Tremaine to know about it right there. Girls are coming through. Get ready for the segment next week. It's your
So,
boy Coach Low for Life. Tremaine, close us out.
hey, you guys. Hey, Brandon, we appreciate you for coming on. Coach Lowe said a lot of great things about you, man. I've been seeing Hotbed a lot, man, down south. Been hearing a lot of great things about you. So it's good to have a credible person like Coach Lowe, like yourself, to come on here. You said one thing earlier. When I got to Florida, I started getting into the football world, and I went to a game because they had 5-star, 4-star. I'm like, oh, let me see this. I'm not used to seeing that. I said the same thing you said. I said, he going where? He a 5-star, he a 4-star, and all them kids transferring right now to this day because I got back into sports like 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of kids are transferring. So you're very credible with what you're saying, man. I love what you're doing. Like I said, Coach Lowe said a lot of great things about you, man. Thank you for taking out your time to come in here, man. Hopefully one day I can put on that shirt too and make it to a national championship game. I'm an Alabama fan. I was in a ride with them the whole way to every game, but you know we lost to them. But at the end of the day, you guys, man, hope everybody stay tuned to this one and got a lot of great insight from Brandon, also Coach Lowe. This show is about the film room and giving you credible resources as we did today. Brandon did a wonderful job. If you don't know him, look him up. Brandon, Hotbed down there in Miami. He's been credible doing this for 16 years. Coach Lowe been doing it for 100 years. So you guys stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll be back on next week again. Brandon, thank you again. Much love to everybody. Y'all guys have a good night. Go Seahawks.